Hey, my friends, do you ever feel down and find yourself putting a negative spin on the world? Everything is so down. Your talk is down, everything is down, and it affects you in ways that you feel maybe sad, unconfident, self-esteem is hit a little bit, relationships have issues in them, jealousy, all that stuff. Well, if you do, this is the episode for you. Have a listen after this. Hey, this is the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, where we use hypnosis. Yeah, hypnosis. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Don't worry what it is. It's just a mass of processes that we're going to get you to change. Change to let go of anxiety, low self-esteem, and create massive supreme inner confidence. But that's confidence in your competence and competence in your confidence, which means you can do anything and be safe, to enjoy the world as it should be, with you at the helm, creating the life that you want. That's what this podcast is about. You and being the best you could be, singing from your real voice, aligned with your mission, aligned with your passions. That's what it's about. So if you're interested in letting go of anxiety, if you're interested in letting go of fear, guilt, all those blooming syndromes, imposter syndromes, and every little bit of the mind which is negative, then have a listen here, because we've got some wonderful processes and lots of good conversations between you and me to get us both thinking in such wonderful ways. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Just take the chance to have a listen.
This is Personal Development Unplugged with Paul Clough.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Hey, my friend. This one's a nice longer podcast, and it's a special one. Well, special for somebody. But hey ho, it's going to be the same for everyone, because it's going to be special for everyone. I know. There's golden nuggets going to be strewn everywhere. Anyway, question to you. I know it happens to me, but a question to you. Do you have a negativity bias? What's that? What is a negativity bias? Well, I do mean all the time sometimes. When we find ourselves always putting a negative spin on the world. So if something happens always happens to me, or someone's doing something, it won't last long, we're not gonna succeed, whatever. Everything is negative. In the UK, we called it a bit of Victor Meldrew. You can Google that. He's a moaning old bugger. But it's always putting a negative spin on the world, and people will either tell you that and you don't agree, because you can put a spin on that too, negative spin. But when you think about it, even if you don't accept that you're doing it, and you are, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? Because if you're not feeling positive, you're probably putting that negative spin on the world. Maybe you're feeling sad. Maybe you're feeling unconfident in the world. Maybe the old self-esteem is taking a bit of a dip. And the thing is, just as you sit and think, maybe over a cup of coffee, yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I am being negative. Maybe I'm that person in the room that's always saying the negative stuff. And you see, do you even ask yourself why? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? You see, a listener asked me this question by email, because that's what you can do. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. They felt they were putting a negative spin on the world, and they were feeling sad, unconfident, and their self-esteem was taking a big hit. And the thing is, I'm going to say this straight away, and this is the advice I would give anybody. If this is a biggie and you want to get it done there and then, very quickly, please do seek one-to-one help. Go and find a good therapist. If you can, there's a lot of stuff going on online and things like that, and you can even do it by text. What a load of BS that is. But that's my opinion, only my opinion. See if you can get one-to-one, because with a one-to-one therapist who you feel a connection, you have a rapport, you feel they have your best intentions. They have the best intention for you to help you get rid of these emotions, these negative emotions, as quick as possible. Go and find a therapist. You know, I like someone who's a bloody good hypnotist, who's an excellent NLP practitioner, master practitioner, and someone who's an excellent master timeline therapist. Because you get that, what do they call it, triology or whatever it is, that trio. Man, you've got a therapist who's going to really do you well. And I reckon if they are certified in those particular genres, you're going to find someone who's been trained in the good way. Because you've got to remember, I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist. You know I have to say that because of whatever goes on. But the thing is, if you do go and see a good therapist, what I'm going to say next is going to help. It's going to help anyway. But these are the things I'm going to talk to you that you can do yourself anyway. Or if you just get to understand it, understand what's happening, understand the process a little bit. When you go and see that therapist, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of that process anyway. So the finishing touches will just come. So don't go to anybody who's going to take sessions and sessions and bloody sessions. You don't need that. But anyway, that's a little bit of advice, a little soapbox, Paul. Get off it. Let's talk about this thing. You see, let's look at the effect of this issue. You see, the effect is sadness, unconfidence, feeling unconfident, maybe feeling guilty, maybe feeling jealous, maybe, I don't know, low self-esteem. Maybe when you think about it, relationships are an issue too. Could be friends, could be family, could be colleagues at work, could be husbands and wives. They're all at the effect of this because you don't know, well, you do know now, when you think about it. You have to just stop and think about this. Cup of coffee, mine's a G&T, but just stop and think about this. You realize the ripples of this go far and wide. And if you think about it, probably the feeling you get is something that's got more and more intense over time. Because that tends to be what happens. Generality, Cluffy, but it tends to be what happens. It's in my experience, the people who come and see me, the feeling is so intense, they have to now change. They have to now change. But go back a few years, the feelings were there, but not quite so intense, so they didn't do anything about it. And this is why I say, as soon as you get anything, we can change. Let's nip it in the bud straight away. But anyway, we're in this place where we're putting a negative spin on things and feeling sad, maybe guilty, maybe jealous, maybe unconfident, maybe that low self-esteem and all those issues. And the thing is, they in turn come back again. You see, because when you think about the way you feel, you get more negative. And the more negative you get, that negative spin you put on everything makes you feel even sadder, maybe more jealous, more guilty, more unconfident, even lower in your self-esteem. And those relationship issues tend to get worse. So it's that like spin spiral that goes downwards. Now, the good thing about this is, by the way, I know this is pretty negative, but I want to talk about the negative stuff to start off with, because they're like reciprocal. One negative reciprocates another negative way. But the thing is, that's a natural thing. And if we use that natural phenomena to make a change, when we change for the better and feel good, guess what happens? We feel maybe a little bit brighter, a bit lighter, a bit happier. We feel a little bit more confident. Our self-esteem grows a little bit. Our jealousy descends to disappear. Our guilt doesn't affect us too much. Relationships get better with friends, family, colleagues, husbands and wives. And that in turn has a reciprocal effect of getting better and better and better. And that's when the ripples of change go further and farther and wider than than ever you could imagine. Now, the thing is, and this is what people do, and even some, I can't believe it, that some therapists do this too. They look at this and go, how do you feel? Well, I feel sad, guilty, jealous, unconfident, low self-esteem. It's affecting my relationships. Friends, family, colleagues, sadness. I know I'm repeating this, but that repetition goes down in there. And you see, and they'll work on those one at a time. Let's work on your sadness, shall we? Let's work on your unconfidence, that guilt, that whatever, that low self-esteem. Let's work on how you want to be with relationships. I don't know why the voice changed, Cluffy. Nor do I, said I to myself. But the thing is, well, I'll put it into this is the metaphor that I tend to draw out for my clients, but I want you to imagine it in your head. Imagine an umbrella. If you draw it in section. So you've got a nice semicircle at the top and there are a few more spokes. And on each one of those spokes, there's a little ball. And each ball is one of those effects. Because one of those might be the sadness. One of them might be the unconfidence. One of them might be the low self-esteem. One of them might be relationship issues. One of them may be guilty, jealous, or whatever you're feeling. And the thing is, if you work on each one, well, there's all the rest there. And they could have an effect on coming back again, or something else turns up. Because, and here's the kicker, or one of them, you're working on the effect. These are effects of an issue. Even that negative spin you're putting on is not the issue. It's the effect of an issue, and these are effects of effects and things like that. They're all just effects. When I made my notes, I did this in uppercase. Well, I wrote it by hand, because I always like writing by hand, but they're just the effects in capital letters. But the thing is, here's the thing. This is what I draw for my clients. I draw the top bit, and then I draw that long handle with a little loop on the bottom, yeah? And there's a little catch just above that handle, isn't there? A little catch for an umbrella. When that catch disappears, guess what happens? The whole umbrella just collapses. And all the effects have to disappear because we're going to deal with the one thing that when disappeared, when let go, when learnt from, will allow all the effects to disappear because we're going to deal with the cause. Ooh. The cause equals the effect. So if we let go of the cause by learning, and it's an unconscious learning, by the way, and we'll go into that, the effects have to disappear. And that's just my experience. I can't prove that, but I've seen it so many times that I know that it's right. Now then, does that make sense? First of all, let's just go, before we jump on or jump in and move on and all that stuff, does it make sense? Because if you just deal with the effects, there'll be more effect. It's like putting a plaster on something or giving you a bit of pharmaceutical pill or something. It's not dealing with the cause. It's only dealing with the symptoms, the effects. And the thing is, and this is what other people will do, and it's natural, by the way, we concentrate on the effects, so we're not learning. We're not dealing with the cause, the root cause. You pull out the root, all the leaves, which in this metaphor are the effects. When you pull out the root, all the leaves die of that weed. That's what we're going to do. So here's the thing. We're talking about what a lot of people do. We're going to push against it. We're really going to push against those emotions. And the thing is, you might even wake up in the morning and go, do you know what? Today, I'm not going to put a negative spin on it. I'm not going to be sad. I'm not going to be this. And guess what happens? Happens again, doesn't it? And do you know why? I'll tell you for why. This is my thoughts, the way I've been taught. Your unconscious mind is doing its best for you. It has a wonderful positive intention to protect you in some way. Generally comes to protection. Protect you from feeling in a particular way, a way that it doesn't want you to feel. So it tries to protect you. And in that way, it'll get you to put negative spin on things, just so you don't maybe get too confident in that thing and get hurt. Or maybe to stop you forgetting about being hurt. Or it may, let's see what else happens. Sometimes it gives you that negative emotion just to remind you, don't do that. Don't do that. That sadness is trying to get you to remember. That guilty is trying to remember. Don't do this again because we'll feel this way. But the thing is, it has a complete, well, it's in complete conflict with what it's trying to do. Now it is. At the very beginning, when it did what it did it with the best of intentions. They're always the best of intentions, but with a little wisdom and the little experience you had way back then. And it misses out that big chunk of experience and wisdom that you have now because it hasn't learned. And that's the only reason why you have this emotion, and the emotion creates the negative beliefs, or the negative beliefs creates the emotion, and then those behaviors. And I just call it the behaviors are the way you act, react, you talk, and the way you feel. And the thing is, the other reason, sort of, that it doesn't work is because you're consciously trying to change. Now, if you'd have consciously created this, thought one day, do you know what? I decided I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be negative all bloody day for every day of the month. That's what I'm going to do. Then you could consciously change your mind. But you didn't do that, did you? You didn't consciously create this way of being, this program, this process, this thing that you're doing, and the negative things around that, the emotions, the beliefs, and all that stuff. No, it was unconscious. It was created unconsciously for your protection way back then, which means we have to get the unconscious mind to make those changes, which is why I say go to a really good hypnotist, NLP practitioner, and a timeline therapist. I tell you, there's one thing. You see, what we want your unconscious mind to learn, because it's those learnings that when you have them at an unconscious level, the learnings from that very first event, that when you unconsciously chose to create this way, when you get those learnings, your unconscious mind doesn't have to use the old emotions, negative beliefs, limiting beliefs, and those old negative behaviors to try to protect you, because it's got what it needs. And that's what we have to educate your unconscious mind in doing, your best friend, because it's always going to do its best for you. And if we can get it to learn and do it, it'll do it even better. And see, I'll tell you a really quick story. And this was done by, the process I used with this client was timeline therapy, because it's a great thing to get unconscious learnings. You see, I had this guy, he was so angry, so bloody angry in his life. Every minute of every day, he was so angry. You can imagine the emotions he had, the beliefs he had, and the way his behaviors would affect everybody. And it affected not only his family, his friends, but it affected himself physically. In fact, his doctor said, if you carry on like this, you will be dead. We've done some blood tests. Things are going wrong. Everything is going wrong in your body. You need help. And he came and saw me. And he told me all about this anger. And I said, well, okay, fine, let's do that. He said, no, before you do anything, I want you to get me to stop smoking. I want to stop smoking, and I want to see how good you are, because if you're that good to do that, then I'll let you with this real personal stuff, this heavy stuff. And I said, well, that's not the way I normally work. Maybe your smoking's helping you survive a little bit, to deal with it. He said, no, I want you to do that. We did that. Then he came and did this stuff. We did timeline therapy, and it probably lasted for about, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And at the end, he said, well, what's happened? It's all disappeared. He said, like, that can't be right. That can't be right. It'll come back. I know it'll come back. Okay, well, the more you look for it, maybe the further it'll disappear. And he went away. And then he rebooked again in about a month's time, without me knowing, because he did it through my sons. They worked with me. And I thought, oh no, maybe it's all gone wrong. Maybe it didn't work. And he came back and said, hey, Paul, nothing's gone wrong, by the way. I just wanted to come. I wanted to pay you to listen to me, to listen to the effects of what have happened now in another way. He said, my daughter, she was having a baby and she wasn't speaking to me, and I wasn't going to be there. I've just come back from seeing my granddaughter. She's gorgeous, and I'm invited to the christening, and I'm really staying with them. That's how much it's changed. My son, who moved out of the house, who lived with me, couldn't stand being with me. doesn't live with me anymore because we're happy like that. But he comes and stays and we have great times. So you can't believe it. I went to the doctors, had my blood tests, and everything has changed. Everything is on the positive side now. We're moving forward. I don't know what happened, but it was like, I think it was 12 years or 13 years of anger that was just building and building and building, disappeared in as many minutes. So it's all about learning. All about learning. And we're going to talk about that in a moment. How to get your unconscious mind to learn. But first of all, what type of things can you do? Because we want to talk about the hows. I mean, one thing is we try to push it away. This thing about trying to push against those emotions. Push it away and it just comes back even stronger because your unconscious mind says, no, I know better. But here's the thing. If you do have that negative spin or you have a negative emotion, guess what? You can spin it backwards. What? Yeah, you can find a way of not pushing it away where you just acknowledge it and learn from it. How do you do that, Cluffy? Spinning things a different way? Well, I'll give you a quick example of what it's a little bit like, and then I'll tell you where you can do it or how you can do it. See, you get that feeling, you imagine that feeling, and you imagine which way does it turn in your body? Because every feeling, every positive, negative emotion has to turn in us in a way. It's what I believe, and it comes out that way. And you just notice when you really are aware of that feeling, you can be aware of the direction in which it turns, where it goes, where it comes back to. And if you were to put your finger in front of that feeling, wherever it is in your body, and let your hand start to move, your unconscious mind will show you which direction it moves. And then you imagine what color it is. Maybe it's like a black or a red or something like that. And you imagine now pulling that feeling out of your body, going the same direction. Then you flip it over so it turns in the opposite direction. And then you think of how you'd like to be and what color that would be. And as you bring that back into your body, turning in the different direction and with that different color, you then check and you notice that feeling's gone away. How do I feel? And if you were to have that feeling in that opposite direction with that new color and imagine or remembered memories of the past when you used to feel that old way, having this feeling now this way, notice how they would be different. Now that was really, really quick explanation. If you go to my hypnosis tracks, the free ones, where'd you get them, Cluffy? Well, I'll show you. I'll tell you in 90 seconds in a moment, but go to 94.1 and hashtag 94.2. One is stop pushing away and one is a spin. Spin it in a different direction. I want you to listen to the actual corresponding episodes though. So episode 94 and episode 94. And you'll also notice there's a load more in those free hypnosis tracks that would actually help you feel different, help you to learn how you want to feel, because it's all going to come about how you want to feel and explaining that to your unconscious mind. We're going to do that in a moment. But go there. Go to those free hypnosis tracks. Here's how. So, the 90 seconds of hypnosis tracks. Why have I put hypnosis tracks on a separate website? Well, it's so simple really. I wanted you to have them all in one place so you can look through them all. You can find the particular one you want. I've even made them downloadable so you can put them on any of your playing devices that you prefer. You don't need Wi-Fi, you don't need the iTunes or whatever. You can put them anywhere you like. You can even burn them onto disk if you want. Where do you get them? Well, there you go. I told you it's paulcloughonline.com/podcast. If you're worried about your email address, please don't be, because they stay totally safe with me. I only use them to send you out that email and give you access. Simple as that. I send you a link, a special link, so you and only you can access those hypnosis tracks, because I want them just for you. And the other thing about this is you've taken responsibility. I don't want to make these open to everyone, just random. You have taken responsibility to listen and be part of this community of personal development. And I want to help you. I want to help you personally to get your dreams, your goals. And therefore I'm giving you these tools, these protocols, these paradigms, whatever you want to call them, but in deep hypnosis. So just enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand with hypnosis. Okay, so now you're back. Now here's the thing. A lot of people want to ask, why? Why is this happening to me? Or another question would be, what if it gets worse today? What if it happens again? Why does it keep happening to me? And you see, if you're going to ask a bonky bloody question like that, and they are bonky questions, by the way, then you're going to get your unconscious mind goes, well, what a wonderful question that is. I'll show you what will happen if it gets worse. And I'll show you not only in your mind, but in reality. Because you've actually asked a question. What would it be like if it gets worse? And the unconscious mind says, I'll bloody show you. What a bonky question. It's a natural thing to ask, but it's a worst question you could ever ask, or the worst two questions. Why is it happening to me? Because it will show you all the reasons, made up or not, of memories in the past why this is happening. You haven't learned anything. You're just overwhelmed with negativity then. And what if it gets worse? It'll show you that and do it. But the thing is, if you were asked questions of, how can I learn from this? What do I need to learn from this to let it go? Or if you knew how you wanted to be instead, what would it be like to feel or do and feel this? Yeah. But the thing is, I thought about this as I was making my notes as a second thing. It's very difficult sometimes, or can be a little bit if you're not used to it, to get your unconscious mind to learn, to spend the time to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little hypnosis track of just getting your unconscious mind to learn, to notice what it needs to learn, to allow you to do everything else. Hope that would help. I hope it will. But I'll do that, and I'll let you know when that comes out. Just getting your unconscious mind to go back at the unconscious level, keeping everything away from your conscious mind to learn. Learn from the root cause. Hey, that'll be good, wouldn't it? So we're going to do that, but you really want those questions. How? How can I learn from this? What would it be like to be different? What would it be like to feel comfortable, to feel better, to speak positively, to look forward to life, to be different? You can make up as many positive questions as you like and leave the gap, because then your unconscious mind says, oh, what an interesting question. I'll show you how it's going to feel to be different or to feel that particular way. And to do all of this, this is number 4, by the way, I think. You have to be prepared. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes. And to do that, you have to set your intention. To set your intention, say, I want to change. I want to find a better way. I will find a better way. I want you, my unconscious mind, to protect me, keep me safe in a better way. And I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. Because if you're not, why would your unconscious mind be prepared to do the same thing? It's been doing whatever it takes right up to now, using all its energy to try to keep you safe. Okay, it's no longer appropriate anymore, the behaviors and emotions and beliefs that it's using, but it's still doing it. So we want it to use all that wonderful energy, but in a more positive direction, don't we? So you have to be prepared to do whatever it takes. But here's the thing. Let's make a start. I'm going to give you some how-tos. I want to show your unconscious mind a few better ways. So how can we do that? Well, first of all, you can go back to, as I said, hashtag 94 and the hypnosis tracks, hashtag 94.1 and 94.2. They will start to show your unconscious mind there's a better way of feeling and getting and just being. And then you could ask it to start to do that on the old trigger. The things that used to trigger you to be negative, I want to feel this way instead. And it's so much about feelings for me, how you want to feel. So I want you to take time out and think, how do I want to feel? And there may be different contexts. So that, as we said, the effects are, or could be, in your relationships with friends, family, colleagues, husbands, wives, and yourself. I said that very slowly, didn't I? Deliberately. And yourself. How do I want to feel? Now, to do that, you have to imagine it. Now, sometimes that could be a bit of a leap. So make it up. Even if you don't think it's going to happen. But if it did happen, how would I like to feel? How would somebody else feel in that? And then I want to feel that way too. And imagine it. See yourself over there doing it. And then float into that you over there and feel those feelings. And really feel those feelings and bring those feelings back inside. Just really imagine and go through each context individually. We want to be specific in this. So if it's a different context, do it again. If it's another context after that, do it again. If it's a different scenario, do it again. It doesn't take very long. Jesus, 2 or 3 minutes if you really want to be quick to really get into that feeling of each context. And then here's a thing that you're not going to like. Write that sucker down. Write each one down. It doesn't have to be pages and pages, not a book, but I want you to write them down. And I want you to do them after every experience so you don't forget them. I want you to remember them. Remember the context. Remember how you, maybe what you saw, what you heard, what you felt, what you tasted and smelt maybe. What you believed in yourself. And how it made you feel. And then do it again. And you write them down so you can keep them and you can look back at them. Because that's how you want to feel. And notice when you felt that way, in your imagination, just notice, I feel really comfortable. I feel safe. Because you never realize when you're safe, by the way. That's my view. You only realize when you're feeling unsafe, fearful. You're just getting on with life when you're feeling good. So notice how safe you feel, how comfortable you feel. Because again, you're telling your unconscious mind, look, this is a better way. Now, go one step further. And I want you to write out again. But first of all, think of, we're going to call them counterexamples. When you've done the thing that you've enjoyed in the past, being the real you, or the you want to be, because you've done it in the past. I know you have. Maybe it's a bit difficult at the moment with all that negativity, but just think for a moment. What are times in my past when I have done what I want to do and been successful and enjoyed it? And when I mean be successful is it was good. It was okay. It was just nice. It was felt in the moment. I just felt comfortable. That's successful for me. And guess what I'm going to say after that? And I want at least 5 of those, by the way. At least 5 different examples. Could be any time in your life, from yesterday to way back to you can remember. Pick 5. And here's the thing again. Write that sucker down. Write each one down. Again, it doesn't have to be a book. Can be if you want. But again, just notice so you can remember the way you feel. The reason I ask you to write it down is because you've got to remember it. When you remember it, you see it in your mind. When you see it in your mind, you feel it. When you feel those feelings, you have to describe them. You describe them with your inner voice, your internal voice. You have to write them down. So your pen has to look at, and you have to see the words you're writing to make sure they match the words in your head, which has to make sure they match the pictures in your mind. So you're doing it through so many modalities to make sure you get it right. Not get it right, but you get that feeling. Because when you write it down and you think about it and you go there, you have to go there, by the way. You have to go to that memory to feel how you felt. And you're feeling how you felt. And notice how safe you were and comfortable there too. Again, you're saying to your unconscious mind, look, in the past, we've done it a different way than you're doing now, and it was much better. Which one are you going to choose? And this is all we're doing. We're educating your unconscious mind to go, there's better ways. We're not taking away the intention to keep you comfortable, keep you safe. We're just finding better ways to do it than the old way. Yeah? So again, I want you to write that sucker down and keep them in that lovely, I have a puzzle book. Tell you about that before. But write them down so you can always come back to them. And the reason I want you to write them down and come back to them, because every day, for say 10 minutes a day, I want you to read them again and feel those feelings again. So feel the feelings you want to imagine you want to have, and feel the feelings that you have already had. And with each one, and I want you to write this down underneath, what would it be like to be safe and feeling like this? This or something better. I'll repeat that. What would it be like to be safe, feeling like this? This or something better. Write that sucker down underneath. So that's a title. Do it in caps lock. I like it done by hand, so do it in capitals. Uppercase. So when you review each one, you get that feeling. You say, what would it be like to be safe, feeling like this or something better? Again, you're asking great question there. It's one of the best questions in the whole wide world. And then on a little card, I want you to write, what would it be like? ... Because every day you're going to have something that you want to do and feel better. Feeling in one of those ways you've either experienced before or imagined before. And I want you to say, what would it be like? And the ... is when I go to or meet or do this, what would it be like to feel safe, comfortable, however you want to be? This or something better. Write that down. And every day when you wake up in the morning, you think of the one important thing that would make a difference to your day. And then you say to yourself, how would I like to be? Or maybe I'd like to have more connection. So you then say, I got my card. What would it be like when I go and see so-and-so? To have great connection, great rapport, and feel comfortable, feel safe. This or something better. Do you get it? Best question in the world. Best question in the world. And the thing is, you've listened to this, and here's the biggest kicker that you can think of. Just listening and thinking about it doesn't do it, does it? You have to be that doer, the walker that walks, not just the talker that thinks. You have to remember that thing I said right at the very beginning, the will to do whatever it takes. And everything I've talked about to do, I made this note, it's a bit sweary, it's fuck all really. In time, in effort, it's not that big. I mean, I was thinking about it. To do the hypnosis tracks, they're probably 15 minutes each. To listen to the podcast, it's probably 15, well, maybe 20, 25 minutes each. To imagine those things and write them out, half an hour. If you want to do it fast, half an hour. Those counterexamples, those 5 counterexamples, you could do those in half an hour. That's 6 minutes of time just to remembering how you feel. Do it, write it down. To go over it, because once you've done them, then you've done them, by the way. You can go back and do more if you want, but that's it. Half hour. And then every day, 10 minutes. It's fuck all. Especially when you've got the will to do whatever it takes. And then all you have to do you do that day by day. And then review at the end of each week. Just again, 5 minutes. Review. What's been different? What's been good? How have I changed for the better? Say thank you. That's it. That is it. But you have to walk the walk, not talk the talk, not think the think. Do the change and get your unconscious mind to learn. And saying that, I'll just repeat, I will do that hypno track for getting your unconscious mind to learn. I think that's going to help too. And just to really reiterate, if this is big for you, please find that one-to-one therapist, someone who's a hypnotist, NLP, and timeline therapist. I really think there's millions of other different therapies around, but these are the ones I've been taught in, and I know for me they work. They just work, and I've seen so many other therapists who, with those wonderful skills, get wonderful results, quick results. Change does not have to take a long time. It doesn't have to equal the time you've been feeling that old way. It can be done in 1, 2, 3 sessions. Except nothing less. And remember, there's loads of other hypno tracks. Remember those, and all the episodes we've got it. We've got here. So you see, we've got this. We have got this. Please let me know if this has helped. Please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And also think, this was created by just a question on an email to me. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. A listener wanted some help. We've got a whole episode, and there'll be more. There'll be more little things that's going to spur in my brain, and we'll bring them out. So if you want anything, just send me an email. That will spur me on to do a specific episode for that issue. And please share this, because there's so many other people who are carrying around these issues, carrying around those old negative behaviors, those negative thoughts, that negative spin. And they don't have to. They don't have to at all. The only thing, So please share. All I'm saying is please share what you've learned. Share the episode. Please tell them about the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. It'll make a difference. It'll make a difference to the amount of people listening, and it'll make a difference to them. And the whole thing, one of the meta questions or meta thoughts I had about this, it's all pretty easy. But easy doesn't mean it doesn't take effort. You have to do it. That will to do whatever it takes. Because the thing is, you can change anything. No effect is too much or too big or been there too long. All changes because your unconscious mind will want to do the best for you. We just have to get it to learn to do things differently. And then, just like those negative ripples, the positive ripples will go further and wider than you ever thought possible. And you get to get the benefit of that too. So again, I say, please share, please think, please take that time out to do whatever it takes. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, have more fun than you can stand. And sometimes, you might just go through the day and feel happy for no reason. That's a good place to be too. It's time to fly. Bye-bye.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.